I'm here today with the wonderful Meek of Visions of Atlantis to talk about their upcoming new record, Pirates 2 Armada, out July 5th on Napalm Records. First of all, thank you for taking the time to chat with me about the record. It's always a pleasure to see you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
The pleasure is mine, man. Like I'm a supporter of your channel. I'm always happy to see you when we are in North America, in Canada, in your case, of course, and it's always a pleasure.
As soon as I finished listening to this album, multiple times, I sent you a message to tell you how good this album is. And I don't do that very often, but this album really blew me away. And I kind of had a feeling like this record was going to surpass all my expectations just based on the singles alone. But even the singles don't tell the full story of what this record is all about from a design standpoint, lyrically, musically, vocally. Wow, why were you guys holding back on us for so long, and only now you decide to release this incredible
No, I don't think we were holding back. It's just that we, like everyone, we are growing. We are growing not only as musicians, but as a band as a whole. Like every year together is a year in which, how do you even say this? Like I feel like this family, because we are a family right now. After every time that we've seen each other, we are a stronger family than before, and we are touring a lot. We are being together on the like constantly. Actually, I see the rest of the guys in Clemmy more than my own family, than my sister, my father and my mother. So we are definitely a family on every level, and we are a family that knows each other since a little time, if you think of it, because it's only 6 years that we are Visions of Atlantis in this form. And I believe that there is still a lot to grow. And, when you grow as friends, it reflects in the music. And that's the explanation, the only explanation that I can give to what you are defining right now in your words, because it's lame if a band says, we have grown so much, we are getting better and better. This is not my call.
You are, but you are, and that was something that I had in the back of my mind in terms of the growth that we see from record to record. Is this growth in some cases planned in terms, okay, this album, let's do this album, let's do that, or is it more of an organic thing that it's just kind of you're growing, and then as you reach the time of creating a new album, that those experiences are what defines that new record?
Yeah, I think it's completely organic. It's not like it's unplannable. If you could plan it, every band would just go higher and higher forever and ever. Right now, we are riding the wave. I'm happy of being riding the wave with, my comrades. You don't know when this will end. For sure, we don't want it to end, and we just keep on riding.
You mentioned the family. This is your third record together with Clementine as the two vocalists on this band on Visions of Atlantis. How much has that partnership been important to you and your not only in the growth of the band but in your own personal growth as a vocalist?
No, it's fundamental. Absolutely. It's life changing, like this. It's not the first time that I say this, but in general, for me, becoming a member of Visions of Atlantis was a complete twist in my entire life, and I'm so grateful to the universe and to the rest of the guys, and to Clemmy especially, because like as a singer, as a musician, having the chance to share what we are sharing together, it's absolutely a life-changing experience on every level. And as a singer specifically, if you want to hear like the technical side of it, of course, it was one of the biggest challenges that I had to face in my career, because it's a hard balance to find, like especially with someone like Clemmy, who is definitely not how to say, she's not a secondary singer on any, no, or she has this aura, she has this presence, she has this magic just being herself, and to me to stand aside of her, stand at her side and support her when it's needed, taking the lead when it's needed without being invasive, keeping this balance definitely was not the easiest thing to do. But I believe that we're doing pretty well now.
Do you give her some tips, and does she give you some tips? Do you guys work together when it comes to putting the vocals on a track for an album like Pirates 2?
Yes, always, always. Like we always work together when it comes not to the melodies. Sometimes we work together on the melodies, but mostly I write the melody. But I always write melodies keeping in mind how her voice will fit and will sound like on these melodies. But then when we demo the song, it's always the two of us in the studio working together. Like at first, she drafts my ideas, and then we start to discuss them, and we see if they work, if they don't work, if we must, approach with a different dynamics to that part, or a completely different, vocal style to that part. We discuss when to go in her case, when to go classical, when to go full lyrical, when to go mixed, when to go modern. We experiment a lot until we find a result that satisfies the both, especially it's like a dress that you have to wear, and in this case it's a dress that needs to match two people together. So we need to find a dress that works perfectly on ourselves and in combination with someone else. So it's not the easiest process, but I believe that record after record, this is getting simpler, more simple to us. Yeah.
Vocally, this album, in my opinion, felt very different from the previous records that you guys worked together. There's a different kind of magic. There's a different kind of aura. You guys took a very unique vocal approach on a song by song basis. It's not like you can look at the record and say, okay, the way you sound on the first track is the way you sound on the last track. I didn't get that vibe. I got the vibe that each song had a very unique fingerprint vocally from both of you, not just to tell the story of the lyrics of the song, but to really enhance what the sound was providing you guys. Do you get that same experience when you listen to this record? And was that the approach going into this record?
Let's say that every song was meant to have, and when I say was meant to have, I would say it came out to have its own universe and its own soundscape. Because if you think of it, like there is an emotion connected to every song, like a specific emotion that is connected to every song. And there is, like if you think of Magic of the Night, you get the Celtic vibe, you get the folk vibe. If you think of Armada, you get the power metal vibe. If you think of The Dead of the Sea, you get like the complete cinematic soundtrack vibe. And I could say something about each song because there is no song that repeats itself in a way or another, like there is no emotion that is repeated exactly in the same way. And of course, this implies a different vocal approach in each song because you cannot sing a power metal heavy and banger track as you would sing, a ballad, as you would sing the cinematic song, which is more theatrical as an approach. So, of course, there is a soul that is slightly different from song to song, and I think this is what you are referring to. Do you recognize what I'm saying
Yeah,
into
no,
what you heard?
and that's kind of what I heard because in certain songs, I felt songs, for example, that had let's use Hellfire, for example, a very angry song, for a lack of a better word to describe it. I think it's one of the heaviest songs, if not the heaviest song you guys have ever done.
Probably, yeah.
Hellfire, and when you look at the vocal performance on Hellfire, the anger that exists comes through in the vocals. So the vocals are not necessarily perfect to the detail. They have a little bit of that anger coming through, which changes how you, as me as a listener, how I perceive the overall vocal performance. And songs that have a little bit more warmth, that are a little bit more compassionate, that also comes across in the vocal delivery. So it was really interesting because you guys became almost a different vocalist with every single song. And that is not an easy thing to do, to be able to bring that emotion into your own delivery, into your own range.
But I believe that this is Visions of Atlantis superpower. Like I believe that when you watch a show and you've been attending quite some shows of ours, you understand that we are not like just performing. We are taking you into a show. That is, it's not a concert; it's a show. In terms of everything, there is acting, there are things happening, there is theater, there is so much ongoing. And this is given by the fact that all the five of us, we are really into what we are doing to the point that we kind of detach ourselves from reality as much as we want the listener to detach from the world of today and live in its own pirate universe for an hour and a half, so that you can forget about all the shit that is happening, all the troubles that you have, all your struggles, and you can just be a pirate for an hour and a half. And this is somehow something that you do when you watch a movie or when you read a book. Your mind flies away and you are in that universe. We scale this down when we songwrite into each song. Each song has its own little universe in this bigger pirate universe. And our superpower is to try, and apparently to make it, to take the listener into the little universe of each song, changing, like, thanks to our versatility vocal wise. We are also lucky because we are two singers, and Clemmy has the magnificent ability of switching from classical to modern singing, which is already two realities of the same vocals. And my voice, I can also change a bit between the raspy pirates and the super deep and theatrical pirate. I have the luck of having learned how to sing in different forms, high notes, low notes. My register allows me to play a lot with my vocals, and it would be a waste not to take advantage and to exploit these characteristics that we have. And this is also something that we have learned and we have improved album after album, I think. Or at least we believe we can do more, much more than we did in Wonders, for instance. And we did more than in Pirates. And hopefully there is much more to say.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about the live performance, for example, I seen you guys on the same tour run twice. I saw you guys at Prague Power, then I saw you guys in Toronto. One would expect that the performance in general would be the same. I've seen other bands on the same tour run multiple times, and they said the exact same things at the exact same time, at the exact same position in between songs in the set, and it's almost like you're just kind of rinsing and repeating. When I went to see you guys, each show was its own show. I never got the same show twice. I think if I went to see you guys every stop of that tour, I would have gotten a different experience every single time. I don't think there's many bands doing this. How demanding is that from you guys to have this ability to kind of like give each performance its own fingerprint?
No, it's really spontaneous. That's like that's why I'm saying that we truly believe in what we do, because there are some things that are scripted, of course, or better, they work, and we keep on doing them because we know it's always fun, and there are people that, when I spray douche with water, this always happen in that specific moment because it's just fun, but I don't do it in the same way. So that he also has some surprise. But the rest, what happens in between, our show is not a scripted show, it's not a theater show, and I totally understand what you mean. And I have to say that honestly, sometimes it's so great that some bands are so consistent that the show is always the same, because this is not a bad thing. Because when the singer sings the same way every night and it's a high quality singing, I'm the first one to say, like, kudos to that singer, because it's so difficult to be always on point in the same way and always to deliver the same emotion, the same passion every night without, falling in the loop of, the routine. So this is not necessarily a bad thing. In our case, as I said, it's really spontaneous. Things happen, and I believe that we are comedians. We are good comedians that make it to that make it to keep it engaging every night. And there is indeed people that came to the entire tour in Europe last year. There are people that are diehard fans that came to 8 or 9 shows in a row in the US, and this just gives us pleasure because it gives you confidence that you are doing the right thing in the right way, so yeah.
With all this touring, because you guys have been touring quite a bit, is there a downside to that when it comes to writing a new record like this?
No, like Collide, just to mention one song, this was written on the road during the delaying tour. Inspiration comes when it comes. It can be, on the road. It can be when you are locked in a room on your own, and it can be when you're sitting on the toilet or taking a shower. What matters to me is not to lose the momentum. Whenever a melody pops up in my mind, I tend to record it, and then if I really feel inspired, because this is something that to me it's important. It's not like sometimes I hear a call, and in that moment I need to write. And this is what happened with Collide, what happened with The Dead of the Sea, what happened with, there are songs, there are melodies that stick in my mind. I can't get away with them until I put them down and I start working on this. And this is when a song becomes a song for Visions of Atlantis. There are so many ideas that I dropped because they were not recurrent. Some songs, they are just, forcing me to write them. I feel an urge to write. And this can happen everywhere, even on the road. It doesn't really matter.
With the pirate theme that you guys have created for yourselves, does that at any point in time kind of put boundaries on what you can create? Or if the time comes where it's time to shed that skin and have a new skin, are you guys ready for that challenge?
Right now, it just feels right. I believe that this entire pirate thing gave us a deeper meaning in a way. Some might say, some might mock us, some might say that we are dressing up as kids and we are doing, stupid thing because without this, it would be worth nothing. In my opinion, it's the complete opposite. I believe that everyone nowadays, especially in 2024, no matter the age, if you are 10, if you are 15, if you are 50, everyone needs a storytelling. Everyone needs a tale to detach from reality and to live in a different world, because the world in which we live, it's difficult to live it. Like there are so many things that just don't work in the right way. And when you are a kid, your dad or your mom, they take a book before you're going to bed, they read you a story, and the story has a clear message. I will never forget that or the other's morality coming from a story that was read to me, or when I was looking at cartoons, when I watched Pocahontas for the first time, when I watched The Lion King, when I watched the old Disney, Cinderella and everything, like the morale, or Peter Pan, which is a pirate story, the morale coming out of that movie, it stayed stuck in my head forever. I will never forget about this. This is the same thing. Even if we're adults, we need to dress up to take ourselves, our minds away from reality, so that we can tell people stories, because the brain of people works in this way. With a story, the morality behind the story itself, will stay with you forever. If I tell you what to do in real life, our egos or our way of accepting the message won't be the same. We will reject it. But with a story, when you understand the morality behind the story, this will stay with you forever. And I believe that we just chose a way because we find it intriguing, because we believe that, pirates are free spirits that don't need rules, don't need, someone to tell what to do or how to do it. With these clothes, we can tell messages, we can drop messages, and our fans and our listener can just decide if they want to follow it or if it's just a story, a fantastic story that they receive on that day. So yeah, I got a bit prolific, sorry, but I thought it was
No,
necessary.
that's really that's philosophical. I was not expecting that from a pirate.
Yeah.
A pirate with a brain. Who would think something like that? When it comes to the production on this record, this album, like I said, to me is the best album you guys have ever done. It's the biggest album you guys have ever done. It's just larger than life. When it came to working on this record, who did you guys surround yourselves with in order to bring your vision to life?
So first of all, we need to mention Felix Held, which is the producer of Vision of Atlantis. He started working with us with Pirates One, and actually, it's fantastic because he approached us. We were on tour together. He was a sound engineer for another band touring with us, and while we were on tour, he said, I want to work with you guys because I believe that there is a lot that we could do together. And he offered us a song, which is Melancholy Angel, which now is like the
One of the
most
biggest.
listened on,
Yeah.
absolutely one of the biggest. He just saw and heard this song dressing us, and it was absolutely right. And this is where we started, to cooperate together. And I started to give him my ideas, and he had more ideas. And this is why Pirates was basically co-written half and half with him. But then getting to know each other, he was the first one who said, okay, it's time to develop Vision of Atlantis for who Visions of Atlantis is truly. And this is why in Pirates 2, finally, all the music is written by Visions of Atlantis with still his production. And he is the sixth member of Visions. I have to say he truly is the sixth member of Visions. And the seventh is Lucas Knobel, who is the guy who arranges all the orchestra. Because it doesn't matter if it's years and years that I try to do my best with orchestrations, what he does is just over the top. I will, it's like racing against Schumacher, or racing against Hamilton right now. It's just they are better. They will always be better. And yeah, it is what it is. So we need him. We need him on board. Aside from this, we have some memorable mentions also. There is a Swiss guy called Sandro. I don't remember the surname. I'm really sorry. That did all the Celtic and folk instruments. We had 2 or 3 friends that took part of the pirate choirs. Felix himself, he played the acoustic guitar in Land of the Free. So yeah, and Robert Kovacic, who is also our drum tech, he also played and recorded the percussions in Tonight I'm Alive. That was definitely a song that needed some ethnic and folk percussion. So yeah, there is quite a bunch of people around the band that took part of in realizing Pirates 2.
And the growth of the band is undeniable. I've seen that for myself at the shows in North America. I think the North American market is doing really well for you guys. You guys have blown up on this side of the Atlantic. How are other markets for Visions of Atlantis? Are they as hot as the North American market?
So Europe is really growing well. We received the pre-sales update for the Armada tour in September, which is going to be as much as Pirates 2 is our biggest record, the Armada tour will be like the biggest tour we've ever done in terms of production, in terms of personnel involved, in terms of attendance and everything. And the pre-sales are just mind-blowing. I don't know when this interview will come out, but right now while I'm talking, we basically already surpassed all the pre-sales that we had in our previous headline run a couple of years ago. So what can I say? I can only be grateful to the universe, and this clearly states that the band is growing. And on one side, it gives us confidence. On the other side, it's a responsibility. You perfectly know me. We've been catching some drink together. It's not only a professional relationship that we have, and you know that I think I'm allowed to say that I'm a person with his feet on the ground. So there is this responsibility that I feel on my shoulder, and it's the same for each and every member of Visions of Atlantis. We are not flying high just because the numbers are growing. We feel like it's something that we need to respect and be thankful and be grateful for, and we will do our best to match the results that we're having with our efforts in making it happen in the best way possible.
How far away are you guys from doing a similar headlining run with that kind of production in North America?
I believe that in general, North America is one tour behind, if I may use this example, just because we started doing things as they are supposed to be done 1 or 2 years later. So I would expect the next US run to be, in terms of production, as big as the previous EU run was. And then the next US run as big as this one is in Europe, if things keep on rolling as they are rolling right now, because of course I'm not the master of my own destiny. There is also the actual feedback, the buzz around the band and everything. So if things keep on growing as they are, this would be my expectation. If things for some reason will start going down, we will have to face it and decide what to do. If things will blow up explosively in a faster way, maybe the next US round will already be bigger. So who knows? But realistically speaking, I would believe that the next US round will be as big as the previous EU round was in terms of stage production, which is already a step farther of what we offered during the last run. So it's fair enough.
And all good things come in 3. So we got Pirates, we got Pirates 2. Are you guys thinking of completing this as a trilogy and down the road maybe a Pirates 3?
Right now I can tell you that there is no reason why we shouldn't, because everything feels so natural. little spoiler is I already start writing some material for Pirates 3, if we can, if we may call it like this. And it's totally like the theme is not extinguished yet. Like I feel like there is so much to say in the pirate universe. Plus, it depends on how much we want to play with it in terms of visual, in terms of storytelling. We never explore the pirate magic. That is something that every pirate story at a certain point has some magic happening. We still didn't do it. Do we want to do it? Do we want to stick to the real pirate universe? Do we want to go real adventure style? We have to take some decisions, but I can tell you that as it is today, there is no reason why we shouldn't go on with the pirate theme, because again, it just feels right, also because of all the reasons that I told you before.
One last question for you. A lot of people think or thought that symphonic metal sounding bands were kind of dying out, that it was not popular anymore, it was not cool to be in a symphonic metal band. People want to listen to deathcore, metalcore. Those seem to be popular genres right now. How do you explain the success that you guys are having when you're not a deathcore band, you're not a metalcore band? You know what I mean? You seem to be an outlier when it comes to what people are listening these days.
Well, I just don't believe that any genre can truly extinguish, can truly pass away. Like if you think of it, it's not like heavy metal. It's not trending anymore because Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, KK Priest, they are filling up the venues. Except like there are so many bands that I could mention now. Thrash metal will never die. Overkill, Destruction, Metallica, if you consider them thrash metal still nowadays, these bands will always trend and they will always bring fans. The real problem, in my opinion, is that there are bands that truly defined a specific genre, a specific style, and it will be always more and more difficult for newcomers to match and say, well, these bands did and already said in the past. Because if I want to found nowadays a band that follows the sound of the new wave of British heavy metal, what can I say that Iron Maiden didn't say already? What can I say that Judas Priest didn't say already? But in our case, Visions of Atlantis is one of these bands, especially in the previous lineups, who actually born with a genre. Yes, there is Nightwish. Yes, there is Epica. Yes, there is Xandria, but then there is Visions of Atlantis. And, like there are little bands that do symphonic metal as it's meant to be, and that still hold, the soundscape of the original symphonic metal, that kind of are part of this generation that founded symphonic metal itself. Even Nightwish nowadays, they're not exactly doing symphonic metal anymore. Let's see what happens with the new record, but they kind of drifted away. With Temptation, they are not doing symphonic metal at all. So let's say that this gap, this hole in the symphonic metal genre is there, and luckily Visions of Atlantis has the experience and the background to be holding the flag of symphonic metal. What I reckon in what you said is that, yeah, if I would found a band nowadays, probably it would be a deathcore band or a metalcore band, because there is much more to say in that style that has not already been said. But for bands that have been there for ages, for years, and that are still doing it with their own personality, in their own style, in their own way, I don't really see an issue. I can't wait for Xandria to release a new symphonic metal album in the Xandria style, as they did, with the previous record. Which it's fair enough. They are part of this first comers in the symphonic metal style, and they are doing it top notch because it's their thing. It would be weird to hear a prog metal record from Xandria just because they said everything. They are another band that holds the flag of symphonic metal. The new Epica, I'm waiting for the new Epica. I'm sure there will be a massive symphonic metal masterpiece in the style of Epica, and it's fair enough that they keep on doing what they are meant to do. My call, my opinion, not Visions of Atlantis opinion, but mixed.
Your own
opinion.
personal opinion. Your own personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time, and I know you have a busy schedule. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I see you guys in North America supporting this Pirates 2 Armada record, because there's so many great songs on this album that I'm dying to hear live. So best for you and everybody. I hope this record outsells everything you guys have ever done, and come back to North America soon.
We will. It's a problem. We're working on it. I can tell you already. We're working on it. So it's just a matter of understanding how to, match all the pieces of the puzzle together. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. All the best. Take care.
Pedro, thank you very much.